In Japan, depression didn't exist until the 1990s. This is that story. Low moods and feelings of sadness are a tale as old as DNA. But in Japan, sadness has not always been a problem to be solved. Their age-old concepts of mono no aware, the beauty of impermanence, or wabi-sabi, cherishing imperfection, actually celebrates loss and sorrow. These philosophies, which are visible from art and religion to festivals and film, framed sadness as a precious, even beautiful part of being human. Then came Prozac. When Prozac hit American markets in 1988, it was a wonder drug. Within a year, 2 million Americans were taking these happy pills, and the ensuing wave of antidepressants was so popular it was called the Prozac Revolution. But when Prozac set their sights on Japan, their trials bombed. In fact, they were told by local experts, quote, "The Japanese barely suffer from depression." Now, that may sound hilarious, but at the time, the Japanese word for depression, usubyo, was highly clinical and very stigmatized. It was much more common to think in terms of spirit, or ki, having a heavy spirit or a cloudy mood. The clinical concept of depression just wasn't seen as an issue. And at the end of the day, Prozac gave up on Japan. And this is where the magic happened. In 1989, a Japanese company, Meiji, gets the idea to sell their antidepressant. Now, just one problem. Unlike in the US, direct consumer advertising or medicine commercials are illegal in Japan. So, what does Meiji do? They start a public health campaign to change Japanese attitudes around depression. And they use the genius slogan, Kokoro no Kaze, a cold of the heart. These words revolutionized mental health in Japan, and it was so successful, European and US companies start using it, and sales for foreign antidepressants like Paxil start skyrocketing. And that's how in just 6 years, one slogan increased Japanese sales of antidepressants by 500%. And in doing so, invited untold numbers of people to consider themselves depressed. All this goes to show that words have power over how societies define illness and how we're willing to respond. Today, depression is still a hot topic in Japan, with the government mandating companies to run annual stress checks on their employees, and Empress Masako speaking out about her mental health challenges. Even Gudetama, or this adorably listless egg yolk, is a severely depressed icon for the youth. But this history also shows us how calculated medical messaging can be. Don't get me wrong, medications, especially for mood disorders, can be life-changing and life-saving. But keep in mind, those early pharmaceutical trials were designed with virtually no attention to individual experiences, cultural or gender attitudes of the participants, or the socio-political climates that may have shaped their sadness.
Mine's a little off-center. It's got wabi-sabi.